Back at home, feeling misunderstood, and between these ears ain't nothing good.
Welcome back to the far end of the bench with Jimmy Pilato and Nico Bryant. Thank you for listening to those messages from our partners. Be sure to check those out in our link tree at FEOTB Pod, Instagram and Twitter. And you can also find the Unhinged merchandise store at unhingedsn.com. And you can still message us on social media for some of our blue shirts because those are starting to sell a little bit. We also have stickers. $12 for a shirt, $3 for a sticker, $15 for both. Message Nico or I and we'll get you the payment information. We take PayPal, Venmo, and if you can see us and give us cash, yeah. we can take the cash
Straight
too.
Cash, homie.
Straight cash, only cash. But let's talk about the UFC title fights. Now we had the bonus episode with Rev. We had some really good discussion. I ended up listening to that episode 3 times because I listened to it live on the network. I caught a replay and then I listened to it just downloading. I'm not narcissistic. I'm an athlete, so I watch tape on myself and try and make myself better.
Jimmy still likes listening to his voice. I still can't get used to it.
I don't like listening to my voice. I'm just okay with it now, so that I can either edit it or anything like that.
I'll get there one day, hopefully.
Yeah, it was a fun night though. So I was a part of Hilo did the commentary on Colorcast. I was a part of that. I was the cage side. I was the Megan O'Leary of the broadcast. A lot better looking than a Megan O'Leary, but
true, very true.
So I would call in and we had some good discussion there, and that was a lot of fun. But we'll talk about the main title fights because that's basically what this card was surrounded by. It was a 3 title fight card.
And just a slight jab, I did win that pick 'em.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I did because I was the only person that picked Blachowicz. I was one of the few. I think maybe you and me picked Aljamain.
I didn't pick Aljamain. It was almost going to go to what I actually picked for Jan.
Yeah.
Because he was going to win that fight if he didn't be a dumbass and knee Aljamain when he was still on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into this Jan versus Sterling fight because.
Okay, but first let's start off because I know you want to talk about the illegal knee. I don't know if you were part of the bad beat that had him winning and then he got disqualified.
Oh no! I mean, I bet on Sterling, so okay. I was happy it happened. I'm okay.
I wasn't. You weren't happy.
I wasn't happy it happened, but yeah. I was down. I was like because before Jan did that, he was a minus 300 favorite. Yeah. He was by far winning that fight.
Oh, he was okay. That was my question. If that fight finishes out. Jan was taking over.
Yes.
Jan was starting to dominate, and Aljamain had no answer.
My question is, what the hell is Aljamain doing? Why the hell do you have such a great jiu-jitsu game? Why the hell do you try to box with him? Stand up and box him?
He couldn't take him down, honestly. I mean, he was hitting... Jan had 96% takedown defense. He got taken down once, and Jan had like 3 or 4 takedowns. Just, he was doing weird trips because I think he was mainly just showing Aljamain like, it's almost the guy was so much better than you. He wanted to show you how he was going to beat you, like in chess, where the guy's narrating his moves. That's basically what those takedowns were. I didn't realize that the champion could lose the title on the disqualification.
This is the first time I think it has. I think it ever has.
But when this happened, I was listening to the high-low Colorcast, and then when he kneed the down opponent, I turned on the UFC commentary because they're obviously going to have a little bit more information. They're getting the message from the truck and Dana and everything like that. And they mentioned that it's written in the rules that if fight ends on a disqualification, the title changes hands. I thought they were just going to call it a no contest because that's normally what happens when the fighter can't continue, especially when you can't contend that the fighter was winning the fight. Now, I'll give it this. For the first 3 rounds, it was competitive. I think it was 2-1, and Aljamain had a pretty decent round 2. I think that's the one that he won. But Jan was starting to take over. He was winning that 4th round handedly. And then I think the 5th round, we possibly could have seen a 10-8. Who do you put? I mean, obviously you got to put blame on Jan because he threw the knee, but his story is that he was instructed to by his corner.
I know. Well, so I watched the post-fight press conference on the UFC YouTube. And first of all, Dana was very shocked that the title changed hands. He was expecting a no contest because that's usually how those DQs go.
That should have been what happened.
That should have probably what happened because Aljamain Sterling left the belt in the ring. He did not want it because he didn't win it. He got the other guy got DQ'd. So we'll definitely see the rematch with that. But Jan Jan he was speaking Russian, right? Russian.
Mm-hmm.
He was speaking Russian in the post fight press conference, so it could have been interpreted wrong. But when he was asked who told you or what happened, he was like, it was just bad judgment. Apparently, he didn't listen to he wasn't listening to his corner, and that it wasn't necessarily his corner telling him to knee. That he took it as a because Aljamain was kind of like. He had one knee on the ground, but he was kind of squatting with the other one.
Yeah.
So he thought that he was getting up, and that's what the situation was. That's what he said it was in Russian. Like I said, could have been an UFC interpreter probably did the right way with it. But either way, I don't think it was his corner that's doing it the right way because Jan is a good fighter, and like I said, if you're winning a fight like that handily, more than likely, like you do not do that.
No.
And whether or not it was like on purpose, it was on purpose because it happened. And even if he didn't mean to do it on purpose while he was kneed, it happened. That means it's on purpose. And although the outcome was just weird, and Aljamain Sterling like getting a concussion and blah blah blah.
It was a beautiful technique. If it was clean, that would have been the end of the fight.
If he was on his toes there on the ground, that would have been perfect. But
a split second later, in Aljamain, because that was one thing that it was Cormier who was saying it, but Jan did have his hand on Aljamain, and maybe he could feel him start working his way up. He just threw it a little bit too early, so that could be part of the situation. 1 second later, and we're talking about Jan with a dominant fourth round, probably KO, because Aljamain, you saw it when he was trying to figure out if he could finish the fight. I'm glad that he wasn't able to fake it, because there's a lot of times where you're seeing guys too tough for their own good.
Koscheck,
well,
with the fake B.
I mean, like he wasn't able to fake that he was okay and can continue the fight. I was going to bring up Josh Koscheck too, because didn't even get touched, and he faked it for a win, because that's how.
Fake me to the head, but yeah, no.
I used to be such a big Koscheck fan. Just side note, after coming out of that Ultimate Fighter season, I was a huge Koscheck fan, and I lost. That was the first bet that I lost.
Paul Daly thing.
No.
Well, that Paul Daly incident didn't help Koscheck's situation, but
no, that was the first bet that I lost. It was when he was fighting Diego Sanchez, and I bet my baseball coach 50 push-ups that Koscheck would win. Didn't happen. Just throwing that out there, but
yeah, I mean, look, to Henry Cejudo, to anyone else who was saying that he didn't get his shit rocked, fucking look back at the tape. Cejudo was like, "Oh, the man can do a post-game press conference and can
they
tweet
stopped
out
the post-game press conference early.
Look,
Henry, shut the fuck up."
So Cejudo apparently is coming back too. Blah blah blah. Sterling wants that fight. I don't know. That's the stupidest thing. Look. The dude was in the hospital. Yes, he could probably tweet it still, but the dude's not in the right mindset. He got his shit rocked.
He couldn't stand up.
That is the cleanest. Yes, okay, not clean as in legal. The cleanest head to the knee connection you'll ever see. Like that. Like he fucking knocked him the fuck out.
That's where movies don't do it service. Where you see these kung fu movies where you take a knee like that and then you stand up and kick the guy in the face. That's not how this works. You get hit in the temple with a knee. You're fucked. You're fucked. The dumbest concussion that I ever had, and it wasn't in football, it wasn't in wrestling. It was after a baseball game. I bent down behind the bleachers to grab something out of the cooler, and when I came up, I smacked the very back of my head on the bleacher, and I had a concussion because I don't remember. I played in the game later that night. I don't remember half the game, but so taking a knee to the side of the temple like that, you're not going to be able to do anything after.
Look, the dude tweeted 4 or 5 hours after the fight ended. Responding back to Jan for apologizing and doing all that, and for fuck's sake, give the dude look. He could not. There's no shot in hell he should have gotten back up and fought.
No,
none whatsoever. That's the point where you're endangering the fighters.
Yeah, and if it's a legitimate concussion, which I assume that he has,
is more than likely a legitimate concussion. Yeah,
that's why MMA is safer than boxing, because you can't get up when you're concussed like that. You get the standing 8 count in boxing. It's a little bit more dangerous because you end up taking more damage. UFC, you get knocked out. It's basically done. Depending on how quick the referee jumps in, you might get
unless your referee's Herb Dean.
Yeah, because Herb Dean likes to make sure that you're dead you're knocked out. He can't get up. The fight's over. Does this kind of hold up the 135-pound division? Do you think?
Yeah, because they have to do a rematch.
I mean,
they have to.
Who do you think Sandhagen fights in between? Because they can't let Sandhagen is coming off of a loss.
Yeah,
First of all,
I don't know honestly.
I'll look up
maybe throw Aldo at him and give Aldo a little send off fight because I'm like you have to run it back. Those are definitely the top 2 contenders, but Sandhagen's probably next in line after that.
I think Sandhagen might be a better matchup against Jan, just because that's more of a stand-up battle that they're going to see, and Aljamain couldn't do what he wanted to and get him down to the ground, so I think we're going to see a different fight.
Whoa, I just saw something that could be interesting.
Okay.
What about Dillashaw? Dillashaw's 2-year ban is coming up soon.
Against Corey Sandhagen?
Yeah.
Sure.
Throw Dillashaw over Sandhagen. Apparently there's been some beef about that fight. Apparently it's in the works. Sandhagen versus Dillashaw, UFC title fight eliminator. So basically that would face the winner of that fight. I think that'd be very interesting because Dillashaw is still a damn good fighter.
Yeah, or if they wanted to get something done sooner, and I apologize, Corey Sandhagen's coming off of a knockout of Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
But they could do Garbrandt versus Sandhagen as
That's
a possible
another
eliminator
one.
too.
Yeah.
Because I think that Garbrandt, I would rather see Garbrandt get a shot at a title faster than Dillashaw because he wasn't on EPO like Dillashaw was.
Garbrandt also has a very loud mouth.
I mean, yeah, I don't mind that. I just don't want to see a guy who is actively cheating get a shot at the championship again. So
That's fair. Either way, it's going to be interesting with the two. Like I said, you can't go on with the division until those 2 fight again. So
yeah. So next fight we'll talk about these scare. This is the performance of the night, possibly the finish of the year because she basically, I'm going to count that as 2 submissions in one.
Yeah.
I've never seen an inverted triangle before.
The girl's also 6'3". You gotta remember that what Amanda Nunes fucking did to that tall woman.
Yes.
It's not like Megan Anderson is 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a very tall woman that she took down with ease and put her in a nasty triangle.
Yeah, inverted triangle. So she's basically rear naked, choking her with her legs from behind, and then with the long ass 6-foot arm, she did the little. She had a arm bar at the elbow and the choke at the legs, and it was quick too. That was the funny part about the color cast. I got off the call with Hilo and turned on their commentary again and turned on the fight. 2 minutes later, I'm back on the phone with Hilo. I was like, so. What do you? I thought I would have more time to formulate my thoughts. I don't know what I'm thinking about the next fight, honestly.
Because look, Amanda Nunes is, I think I can firmly say this, is the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she's kind of moving, especially amongst the fans who actually watch fighting. She's definitely pound for pound, regardless of gender.
Exactly, people are not seeing that she's a female fighter anymore. People are seeing how that it doesn't matter who they put in front of her.
Yeah.
It does not matter. Name any person off the street, any woman in the world. I can firmly, I don't know firmly. There's some weird people in Russia, but I can firmly say that Amanda Nunes probably beat the shit out of.
Yeah, I think that she beats the shit.
And she's the nicest person too. God, yeah. Oh my God.
How? I mean, it was a great moment, but how do you think Megan Anderson felt? You almost broke my arm in half and choked me out in a position nobody ever does. Yeah, sure, I'll meet your baby. I'll do whatever you want to do. Just don't. I'll do whatever. Just don't eat me.
Amanda Nunes is an look. She is the lioness for a reason because when she steps inside the octagon, that is the biggest flip of the switch I've ever seen in my life. Because you do not want to stare down Amanda Nunes in any ring, octagon, whatever it may be. Outside of the ring, lovely person.
Yes.
Lovely person. The person you want to meet. The person you love to shake their hand.
Yeah.
Inside the octagon, get the fuck away from me.
I'm a 260-pound man, and if I was in the octagon across from Amanda Nunes, I would tap out before she got her hands on me. That's just 110% the truth. I wouldn't even... I honestly... And there's a weird stigma about that. It's never going to happen because of the stigma about men and women fighting. But I think that there's a good portion of maybe...
I think she could beat some of the males.
She could beat some of the men. I think she probably could have beat Uriah Faber, especially towards the end of his career.
What does she weigh? 145?
She's a bantamweight and a featherweight, so she was fighting at 145, but she's fought at 135 too.
Okay, so 145, yeah. Like I think she.
I don't know about featherweight, but she could definitely beat up some of the men's bantamweight division.
Probably everyone outside the top 5.
Yeah, probably.
I think very easily. top 5, she could easily get a run for her money too.
Yeah.
I still think she'd be the betting favorite against anyone in the top 5 of the bantamweight division.
I don't know. There is something to be said about men just being genetically different in that way. So there's maybe a little bit more.
I mean, at this point, Dana, just fucking make the fight. Throw her in a title fight for the male division. Because that's the only fight that's going to give her a test.
And that would be the fight that cemented her as the superstar she deserves to be. Because she should be the face of the UFC, especially the women's division. And she
already is the face of the women's division. The women's division, 100%.
I don't really think that a lot of people are seeing it that way.
Well, who's the face of the women's division UFC right now?
I mean, if you're just a casual viewer, you're still going to say Paige Van Zandt or Ronda Rousey because that's the face that you see. They don't put Amanda Nunes' face on anything.
If I were to ask on the street right now, who is the face of women's UFC, I'd bet you $20 the only other name I'd hear is Ronda Rousey. Probably. Because people don't realize she's not fighting anymore. That's the only reason. Paige Van Zandt has never got close to winning a title. She's only a pretty face, no offense, but she is.
I'm saying that the UFC pushed her. UFC attached a rocket to her and tried to push her as far as she could go, and they did. They pushed her as far as her talent would take her.
Women's MMA is Amanda Nunes. That's just the way it is.
Boom.
It's like, look, it ends. The conversation ends and begins. Look, Valentina Shevchenko is a damn good fighter. Sure, ass kicked. Chris Cyborg, damn good fighter. Ass kicked. Yeah. Women's MMA starts and ends with Amanda Nunes.
She is very impressive. It's interesting. I'm interested to see what they're going to try and do with her moving forward because there's really no other contender.
Her press conference, also, I'll keep going back to that. Her press conference, she was just like, "Yeah, I'm not worried about who's behind me. I am willing to take on all comers. Like I have no beef with anyone. If they want to step up and fight me, I give everyone a shot. I give everyone a shot at facing Alliance. Whether they have a shot at beating her is to be seen. But she said that I am not anywhere close to retiring. I'm just having fun out there. My family's doing well, and now she's just gonna rock everyone that she sees in front of her forever now.
I'm gonna throw this out there, and don't laugh because this is a legitimate. This is something that I'm really thinking about. Let's say Jermaine Durandame and Juliana Pena, because those are the 2 and 3 contenders at the bantamweight division right now. Because I think she has to go down to bantamweight. There's not anybody else left at the women's featherweight division. They get a tag team against Amanda Nunes.
Oh my god! And have one girl fight the first round. If she can get out of the first round, the next girl fight the second round.
Exactly.
Oh god.
Or we give them a weapon. Nothing that'll kill. But like a blunt weapon, maybe add, because Amanda Nunes has 2 blunt weapons.
Maybe make Amanda Nunes wear boxing gloves.
Yeah. Tie one hand behind her back.
Then maybe have a shot.
Tell her or say that she can't, like a sparring match, you can't throw a punch until 2 minutes left in the round.
The other girl has to be able to throw 10 punches before you do anything.
All right, this round, Amanda can only use jiu-jitsu. Go.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
This round, she can only use her feet. Go. Oh, she just kicked her head off. All right. Amanda Nunes once again.
She doesn't make it out of the first round. You tell Amanda Nunes to use jiu-jitsu, she fucking uses it. You tell her to box, she demolishes the other girl. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, she's something else. That was definitely performance of the night by far out of the entire card, and it's well deserved. She's a great person, a great ambassador for the sport. Main event wise, I think we all got caught up a little bit in the hype train. I know you picked Blachowicz, but you were giving Adesanya his due on the bonus episode, and well deserved too.
People were just sleeping on Blachowicz. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how it was. Like I said, I wasn't surprised. Because I knew what chin and what stamina Blachowicz has. Izzy was fighting at 200.5 pounds. Fucking Jan Blachowicz was fighting at 230. That's never, ever going to be a fight where Izzy is going to be able to dominate for 5 rounds. Blachowicz will get his wrestling in. He will be able to stand up. Izzy is very, very tough for Izzy to come in that low of weight and be able to dominate. If he is ever going to think about going up to 205, he has to put on weight.
Yeah.
Has to. Because I'm telling you right now, that Israel Adesanya doesn't last 30 seconds against John Jones.
No,
30 seconds. John Jones runs through him.
Very glad that it was Blachowicz that we learned this about, and not a guy like John Jones, where it could actually been
Detrimental to Izzy's career.
In health.
This
was. I mean, it's a good fight overall for everybody involved because it was the mainstream media that Blachowicz needed. It was his first time headlining a card, and that was great for him. And now Adesanya can go back down to middleweight, and it's not going to affect anything that he does there. Exactly. He's still the king of that division, and now he's gonna go back down and build himself up to a point where we're gonna see, let's see him and Jones again, and then.
By that time, I think, looking 1 year, 2 years down the road, John Jones has won the heavyweight title. Just look at it like that. Just think about just in perspective. This is not gonna happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. Just think about it happening. John Jones wins the heavyweight title, and then goes back down to the light heavyweight to be a double champ. Then the next contender for the light heavyweight championship is Israel Adesanya. Why don't you try to do that again? Because I don't see why not. Look, if you're John Jones, you don't drop to light heavyweight anymore. Because there's, like I said, Blachowicz, as great of a fighter he is now, he can't touch John Jones. And John Jones, the only competition right now is in the heavyweight division. And if Israel Adesanya doesn't want to throw weight on his body and wants to come in at 200 pounds and have John Jones step into the octagon at 230, you have no shot.
Oh, definitely 250, because John Jones has done something different to his training regimen, and he's an absolute monster.
Different to his training regimen too.
I'm just gonna say that he's probably not on steroids.
Well, he was at one point, so I guess we'll see.
Well, we'll see. USADA's starting to loosen the reins a little bit. They're not testing for marijuana anymore.
Which is very, very good for the sport. I'm very happy for that. But look, Blachowicz, UFC won. They created a star in Blachowicz. Adesanya, the hype train maybe derailed slightly, but you're still back on the tracks.
It still rolls. It rolls on to 185. It's just now you're not. I think the UFC would have liked to see Stylebender win because he would have been the first undefeated double champ. That would have been the first time that they had an undefeated double champ. But hey, it's no slight to him. It's whatever. And now he'll go back down to 185, and we'll see what he does moving forward. And I think Blachowicz is going to have a nice little run at 205. He's probably going to defend a couple more times, and then some young kid is going to come in. I'm interested to see what happens with Rakic, because I think Rakic might be a fun fight.
Yeah, Rakic, I think maybe next one in line, honestly. Because I think that's the next title fight to make a light heavyweight.
Yeah, I don't see any of the other contenders.
Unless they give Dominic Reyes another shot. That's the only thing I see.
Yeah, we'll continue to stay up to date on that. I'm sure by the time UFC 260 comes around, we'll have the problem back on and talk about all things Ngannou and Stipe, because I'm pumped for that fight. I like the light heavyweights. I like UFC, but the heavyweights are my bread and butter. I'm a big guy. That's my thing.
But light heavyweights and the heavyweight division is damn good.
Yeah.
Can't deny either.
All right, let's transition now out of the UFC talk, and let's move